Good evening, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex, guys, and I wanted to get this out to you because Bitcoin just seemed to start to break out. As I told you guys yesterday, we were watching this zone here between 6750. It's a very relevant zone. Price needed to break above this zone. We can see it had been tested numerous times, and it was only a matter of time before we were going to see price break out or get a strong rejection to the downside. We are now watching it break out as I told you guys, and what we're going to be looking for is a possible bull trap, guys. What we need to see is we need to see price first of all clear this prior wick, which is sitting at 68, almost 6900, somewhere thereabout. We need to see price get above that wick to invalidate a possible bull trap here, and this zone here between 7,000 and 7,100, about 7,150, somewhere thereabouts, really between about 7,050 and 7,150, is going to be an extremely strong resistance, in my opinion. If we zoom out here to the daily, we can see that, as I told you guys, showed you yesterday, price came down, wick, wick, wick. These are daily candles, so it's a very long wick, very strong resistance, a lot of sell orders sitting here, and then price just broke right down. So we know that there are a lot of sell orders sitting here. If price does come into this zone, guys, it's going to be a major test for the bulls. If we can push above this zone, that's going to be a major win for the bulls, and I think we may start seeing a snowball effect up to possibly, in the short term, up to possibly as high as 77,000, certainly as high as 75, or excuse me, yeah, 7,700. 77,000. Yeah, that's not for a few years. As far as high as 7,700, but certainly 7,500 is going to be a real possibility if we can clear 7150, 7160 right here about or thereabouts, guys. So again, we can see that price did come up. It looks like it's starting to find that resistance right around the prior high of this wick here. Let's see if it can continue to the upside or break up, or if we end up just coming right back down. To the downside, it's going to be very interesting to see if price now starts to, if this 6750 starts to act as support. Remember, that was the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders here, guys. That's why it would act as such a strong resistance. If price does come back down and this starts acting as support, that's going to be extremely, extremely bullish, guys. Extremely bullish. If price comes down and just completely breaks right back through this 6750 and doesn't even acknowledge it, that's going to be a very bearish sign. At that point, I'm going to be wanting to watch this this ascending support line here. If that can hold, that's going to be very, very bullish. I'll remain optimistic. If that does break down, then we're going to be watching this 6540. If 6540 breaks, guys, it'll be a quick drop to 6280. Again, guys, these are the zones that we're watching. We're just now seeing price come up, and once again, it's now testing. It just broke just above this prior candle here, this prior high. So let's see if we can continue now to the upside. We're going to be watching this ascending resistance line here, watching to see if price comes up, hits that resistance line, it comes right back down, and continues to operate within this channel, which is just fine with me. If it stays within this channel, that's no problem at all, guys. Again, that's just fine with me. Some of the things that we're watching here, if we pull out here, I want to show you kind of a bigger picture perspective. If we come out here and we look at the weekly chart, let me get rid of this here. Let me bring us down a little bit. If we look at the weekly chart here, guys, it's very, very interesting. We can see clearly from this point to this point, obviously, price was creating a series of lower lows. Although on the histogram on the weekly, price was creating a series of higher lows. So we had clear bullish divergence on the weekly, and we can see that starting to play out, or has started to play out here. Now, whether or not it continues to the upside is going to be very interesting, but one other thing that we're watching, if I pull in here on the histogram, we can see that the histogram is starting to cross over. It hasn't quite yet, but it looks like it's trying to cross into bullish territory. If that does happen, clearly that's going to be a very bullish sign, not just because that ends up happening and we're looking at the MACD line and signal line also about to cross over. Obviously, that's bullish just on indicator reason, but there are a ton of retail investors that are watching this indicator, and also a ton of algos that are watching this indicator. And as soon as that crosses into bullish territory on the weekly, that's going to trigger a lot of algos to enter buy position, and it's also going to trigger a lot of retail investors to possibly enter into long positions. So a lot of people are watching that, guys, and it's going to be very interesting to see if it does cross over. Hasn't yet, but it's right on the precipice. And if it does end up crossing over, guys, again, that's going to be a very bullish indication. If we look at the weekly, Oh, sorry about that, guys. Look at the weekly stock RSI. We have the same thing. Stock RSI and the weekly just crossed over. Now we know that this isn't nearly as I don't put as much weight on the stock RSI. It's much more volatile. It's, it crosses back and forth much more often. But still, on the weekly stock RSI, for it to cross over, that is a bullish indication, guys, and something that we shouldn't ignore, at least not right now. Let's wait and see how this ends up playing out, guys. For now, it's looking very, very good. On the daily RSI is only sitting at 55, has plenty of room to continue to rise if that's in fact what ends up happening. However, on the 4-day or on the 4-hour RSI, we're starting to get into oversold territory. Doesn't mean we can't come up there, guys. We've seen in the past here, as we saw right here, price can come up much, much, much higher than it currently is, even if it gets oversold. It can stay up there. So let's watch and see. We're going to be watching the top, just like price was in this ascending channel. Also, the RSI on the 4-hour chart is sitting in this ascending channel here. So I'm going to watch and see if it ends up making the top of this support here, or excuse me, resistance line here, and see if it breaks above or if it gets a bounce off that and ends up trending right back down. Either way, guys, right now it is looking rather bullish. Zooming out, looking at this from a bigger picture, guys, this is again on the daily chart. I want to remind you what my bullish count is. Bullish count had us in a WXY pattern, which had already been completed. If this count is correct, the bottom of wave E was already in, and we'd be on the starting wave 1 now. Okay, so this is my bullish count. This is still very, very much in play as long as we continue to the upside. So zooming in on that, how am I counting that? This would be the bottom of that wave E down here, which would mean this would be the start of that wave 1, and we're now looking at the subwaves of that wave 1 now. So if I zoom in here, this would be our subwave 1 within the larger wave 1, so 5 waves up here, which you really have to zoom into the hourly to kind of get a little better view. I'll kind of give you that kind of that perspective here. You can see it a little better. We've got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. We have this ABC correction here, coming back here to the 4-hour. And now we're starting another 5 waves up, which would be our subwave 3. Okay, so if that's in fact the case, this being a 1-2, I know this is a very deep 2 correction, but it is still very technical. This came down just like, I think it was $30 or $40 shy of this. Remember, wave 2 can retrace up to 99.9% of wave 1, and it still be technical, so that's what we have here. So this would be our subwave 1, subwave 2, and now we're up for the subwave 3. So where's that subwave 3 target going to be? Well, it's going to be roughly, in my opinion, if we just pull our fib extension, it's going to be somewhere around, certainly it's going to be greater than a 1-to-1 extension in my opinion. Wave 3 is often the longest, often the strongest. Oftentimes it targets a 1.618 fib. If that is in fact the case, and we're of course seeing this very impulsive looking wave here. This has been a rather kind of an impulsive looking wave so far. This has certainly been an impulsive pump up right now recently in the last 15 minutes or so. So if this is in fact the case, we can expect our wave 3 to come somewhere in the neighborhood of about 63.50, 63.60, somewhere thereabouts. And we're going to need to see volume increase dramatically if it's going to push above this zone here, this major supply zone between 7,030 and 7160. If it does get above here, guys, again, that's going to be a very, very bullish indication. But for now, assuming this count is correct, we're looking at something like this, and then it would be up for the wave 5. And it may take a little longer to complete. I'm expecting it to get a little bit of a bounce off this zone, back down, and then coming back up for that wave 3. And remember, within this wave 3, we've also got subwaves. So again, we probably see a little retracement and then come back up to complete that wave 3 if this is a correct count. If this is a correct count. Now, remember, guys, we are still being very, very cautious, knowing that this entire thing could be a bull trap without question. We'll come over here and we check our moving averages on the 4-hour chart. We can see it's extending above this the top of the outer Bollinger Band, suggesting we might see a pullback here relatively soon. Although we also know in the past, if volume increases and buyers start flooding the market, this could just snowball into a massive, massive bull run, and the Bollinger Bands will just have to reset. What I'm really watching here is our short positions. Short positions continued to stay stacked, even though in the last 24 to 48 hours they have lost some ground. They continue to be stacked. We haven't really seen a dump of the short positions quite yet. and I'm really going to be watching this. If we start to see short positions dump, guys, then you can expect price to follow, to probably dump very, very shortly after. Also monitoring long positions. We can see long positions are slowly but surely starting to stack for now. If those long positions continue to stack to the upside, and at the same time the short positions continue to liquidate and fall down, you're almost guaranteed to see price fall. Nothing's a guarantee, but that's going to be a very telltale signal that price is going to more than likely end up crashing down. Now, if the short positions remain strong and they don't get liquidated, and they remain when they remain kind of stacked and they just slowly liquidate kind of here, but nothing major, then more than likely price is going to continue to move up. If long positions don't continue to stack at a relatively high rate, if they just kind of slowly stack here, but nothing significant, then once again you can probably expect price to continue to rise. Again, think of this as a market maker's perspective. Market makers want to take your money. So if shorts are stacked, they're going to bring price up. If longs are stacked, they're going to bring price down. So always keep that in mind, guys. Always have a good idea of what they're doing. Looking at the daily MACD, we can see price just rose above the 55-day EMA. If it can close above the 55-day EMA, it's going to be a very, very bullish sign here on the daily. If it can close above 55 on the daily, very bullish. If it can close above the 50-day moving average, which we can see it's acting as resistance right now, if price can break above this 50-day moving average, in my opinion, and close above there, in my opinion, that's going to be extremely bullish, guys, and that's going to signal a massive shift in momentum towards the bulls. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. And as always, guys, I certainly would appreciate an upvote, a resteem, or a like. Just mash that upvote and that like button, guys, if you want me to continue to do these videos. And until next time, guys, please trade safe, take care of yourselves. This is Working, signing out.